We've begun to read from the book of Numbers this Shabbat. In the cycle of Torah readings, we've concluded the book of Leviticus, and we're now beginning the book of Numbers. And the book of Numbers chronicles the generation of the desert. And this is a very unusual time in the history of the Jewish people. And the generation of the desert is referred to by our sages as the generation of knowledge. And it was this generation of people, the people that God took out of Egypt, people that received the Torah at Mount Sinai, who ate from the manna, literally from the table of God. And this was a generation that was so close to God in so many ways, and saw miracles every day, and lived literally like children at the table of their father, eating the manna, drinking from the well of Miriam, the generation that imbibed the true wisdom of the Torah. And yet, we also see that this is a generation that was considered to be obstinate, that tested God many times, and that ultimately was prevented by God from entering into the land of Israel because of this nature of doubting and questioning, which finally got the better of them. So it's a generation of paradoxes. On the one hand, we see people that had great spiritual propensity and that were very close to God. On the other hand, we see people that were never satisfied, that never felt sure about the divine providence that guided them, and that were constantly, literally testing God and kind of pushing the envelope. And perhaps this is significant of human nature in general, and perhaps they, in that way, could be considered to be a microcosm of the human experience. There's a great deal to learn about human nature from a close study of the generation of the desert, that inimitable and remarkable generation, and we'll be talking about that in future weeks. One thing that this particular portion, the first portion of the book of Numbers, emphasizes is the geographic setup of the encampment of the people of Israel around the tabernacle in the desert. And this was to be the template. The tribes of Israel camped around the desert at every one of their way stations. And you know, the most important thing about the generation of the desert is just this, that the people of Israel came out of Egyptian bondage and were totally focused and centered around the presence of God in their midst. And that, of course, is the mission that we have as people in this world, all of us, to shine forth with the presence of God, to concentrate our efforts and realize that God is willing to dwell amongst us if we would let Him in. And in all of our travels and in all of our endeavors, to go with God in everything that we do. And that's really the main message that we can learn from the generation of the desert, that through everything they were constantly focused, and their heart beat like one man, centered around the divine presence in their midst, the tabernacle that went with them.